how to pass your CIMA Strategic Case Study examination with some top tutor tips. If you have your SCS exam coming up for CIMA, you're in the right place because I have a top tutor in Hugh with me who's going to walk and talk us through how to pass the exam. But Hugh, feel free to introduce yourself, my friend.
James, thank you so much for giving me this space to introduce myself and be a part of your video. So my name is Hugh Martin. I'm a CIMA member. I'm a CIMA qualified myself. I've been teaching CIMA subjects and writing as well for the last 7 or 8 years. I've worked for various different providers. I've worked internationally. And I now have my own business, which is called Pro Accountancy. I'm an official CIMA tuition provider. Some of you may recognize me from the FLP. If you're an FLP student, you may have seen me on the videos, in the case study videos, the OCS, the MCS, and the SCS. You'll see me in all the introductory materials. So maybe I'm already a familiar face for some of you. So that's me.
Fantastic. Super stuff, Hugh. Well, we're going to get straight into it now. Pen and paper at the ready. I'm going to pretend to be a CIMA student doing the SCS case study. How would you tell someone how to pass it, Hugh? Walk and talk me through.
That's a really good question, James. Where do you start? Because it's such a big syllabus. And, so many people are probably looking at the SCS thinking, maybe you're sitting it in, February, March, whichever one you're doing, or May rather. Really, with the whole SCS, the main thing that you need to do, if I was to separate the people who pass the exam and don't pass the exam, is practice questions. If I was to tackle the SCS, I'd be thinking about doing, maybe a mock a week, something like that, practice questions from past papers. Getting into the practice of actually writing an answer is probably the most impactful thing that you can do for the SCS exam in particular. With the other exams, you can know your theory quite well. And if you know it quite well, chances are you'll do fairly well in the exam, especially for the OCS. In the MCS, you need a little bit more exam technique. But for the SCS, you need to get used to putting your ideas into the scenario, into the context of the pre-scene, and really being able to incorporate that information in a way that makes commercial sense. CIMA are expecting you to use your critical thinking skills, and that doesn't necessarily mean just dumping a model on the page. It means, using it, or maybe not necessarily using a model, using your own sort of business experience mixed in with the theory that you've learned to give an answer that makes sense in the context. So I would say the biggest thing is people who practice questions and people who, look at their answers, they compare them to solutions, or maybe they get feedback, maybe they have, mark services or something like that. And they see, okay, where did I go wrong? And then they study that area. So I could tell you, go through your theory. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows they need to look at their enterprise strategy, their finance strategy, risk management. Everyone knows that that's important, right? But like in terms of people who pass, people who fail, it's people who regularly go through questions, actually typing out an answer. If you can, and I'm sure you were like this when you were doing your exams, James, if you can do them under exam conditions, that's really important. Getting used to sitting there for 3 hours, no distractions, as much as possible, obviously, not having a book open in front of you, not having Google in the background, or ChatGPT these days. That's another one. And really attempting it like you would a real exam, taking it serious. Even if you don't do that well in the mock, and I'm sure you found this as well in your career, I've had people that got 31% in their mock paper and then went on to pass the exam because they saw, okay, this is what I need to work on. It was early enough for them to kind of make an intervention and, cover the area that they didn't do so well in the mock, or maybe multiple areas. So it was a real wake-up call. So I cannot recommend more doing questions. It's so important for the SCS. Everything else is so, I suppose, clear probably to most people. Covering the pre-scene, understanding the pre-scene. We all know that from the OCS and the MCS. Some people watching this video might be, the SCS is their first ever case study exam. Maybe they have exemptions. Maybe they went the CFO program route. But even still, you'll probably know the pre-scene's important, right? Yeah. Theory is important, but questions is like the big one.
Yeah. Honestly, you're covering all the areas that I'd be just listing off. Yeah, more question practice, but you've touched on a variety of areas. I'm going to pluck out one as to, you mentioned about mistakes on there that SCS students have made who you've worked with in the past. What springs to mind as to a mistake a student who's watching this should not be making? Maybe about the time when they start studying. We've talked about past paper questions. What comes to your mind that a mistake students shouldn't be making?
Yeah, it's a really good question. What is the big one? And I suppose the biggest mistake that I see over and over from marking hundreds, probably thousands at this rate, of papers is not answering the question that's been asked. That is the biggest one. The examiner has said the exact same thing in the examiner's reports over and over and over again. They're starting to see a lot more answers now, because the questions are so broad on the SCS paper. The SCS has changed over the years. When I set the SCS probably 8 years ago, it was very different. But these days, the questions are quite broad. And so there is a broad spectrum of answers that you can give. But what the examiner is seeing is, answers that just aren't really answering the question. That's a big problem, because even if your marker, and let's be honest, most markers want the person to pass, right? So they want to give you marks. They're not sitting there trying to do you out of a pass result. We're all human. We want people to pass. We want people to succeed. It's very difficult for them to give you marks. And this is a classic case. If they don't have the question answered, it seems so obvious, right? But like, let's say, for example, an ethics question. If your answer is going on about, very far-reaching stuff, and you have no mention of, let's say, the CIMA Code of Ethics, the principles, the marking grid will probably have, let's say, 2 or 3 of those principles, and they basically, the marker have to go and they have to see how have you applied those principles. If you haven't really applied the principles, there's not much they can do. So it's a very difficult problem for the marker. And I've been in that position, not with real papers, but with mock papers for the SCS, where, you're looking for content to give people marks. But if it just isn't there, there's not much we can do. You know what I mean? So I think answering the question that's in front of you, and, how do you do that? I think it's as simple as just reading through the question very slowly, very carefully, and picking up on the words that are being used. So sometimes with CIMA questions, you'll see, identify and evaluate. So you should identify and evaluate. You should do one part of your answer, and then the other part of your answer. For another classic case is evaluate the challenges and recommend ways of overcoming those challenges. There's so many scripts I would see where they would just have one, and as a result you're missing out on 50% of the marks, and the person may be a fantastic exam candidate, but they just miss out on those marks because they didn't read the question carefully.
Exactly, and that comes down to and boils down to practice questions, to time, under exam conditions, so you get used to the time pressure on there, because you haven't got a lot of it and you want to answer 100 marks on that exam. I mean, we touched on a couple of things like theories and topics. Are there, and you mentioned ethics as well, are there any topic areas that if a student is not on top of these going into their SCS exam, they're going to be at a severe disadvantage? What are your thoughts on the key areas?
Yeah, that's what everyone wants to know, isn't it? It's like, what do I really need to know? Because it is such a ginormous syllabus. Everyone's thinking, well, if I just cover these ones, I should be okay. And to a certain extent, there are some topics that do tend to come up, over and over. And those are, I suppose, if I was to list them out, the first is internal audit. It's examined, very regularly. It's typically answered quite poorly, and I think that's because there aren't loads of CIMA members that work in internal audit, right? So it's like not an area that typically a CIMA student, a CIMA member would be associated with. Now, there are plenty out there, but it's definitely not the sort of main career area that, a person would be working in. And as a result, there's not much on the ground knowledge, right? So that can be kind of one that I see, it comes up over and over, and it's typically answered quite poorly. So I would recommend that you would cover internal audit quite well. It's tested very frequently. Corporate governance is another one, tested over and over. A huge topic, but really important. So easy to examine as well. When you're writing mocks, you get to see it from the other side, and it's very easy to examine it because you can kind of test corporate governance for all different types of pre-scenes, right? So it's fairly easy to write questions for it. The other ones, currency risk is regularly tested. Again, typically kind of a nightmare area for people. They kind of think to themselves, oh, hedging strategies like forwards, they're very complicated futures. Honestly, just being able to evaluate currency risk is a big one. It comes up a lot. You don't necessarily have to be an expert in hedging. Very straightforward, context-specific hedging strategies. They're very effective. If you look at CIMA's own solutions, they tend to have very much scenario-specific hedging strategies, and sometimes those are internal ones. They're not necessarily super complex or anything like that. I would say things like evaluating strategies, those come up quite often. being able to kind of evaluate an acquisition, strengths and weaknesses, arguments for and against. Very common question comes up in the exam.
Yeah.
Not just acquisitions, but divestments as well. Those can come up. And really the last one is like stakeholders has been tested loads and ethics have been tested loads. Now those tend to be answered quite well by students. So, not a major problem area, but just one to be aware of, how to identify, evaluate stakeholders. That's a very common question.
No, brilliant. Yeah, I would expect ethics and stakeholders, but to the same token, students should not be throwing away marks by underestimating it, because the standard, the level of
Yeah.
answer they've got to deliver, that is what the marker is looking for on there. Are there any other factors for the SCS exam that you think to yourself, that is imperative? Those are the things that I walk and talk my students through, that if they don't hear it from me, then it's not going to be to their advantage in that exam.
Yeah, I would say, with the SCS, and I think this is, it's applicable to all case study exams with CIMA, but I think it's really important for the SCS in particular, to make the marker's life easy, right? So like I've marked loads of scripts, and try as much as possible to make it easy to get marks. Like having things like headings, it doesn't take much time. I always suggest to my students, so you'll know someone has studied with me just based on the way the answer looks, I'm sure. At the start, you have A and whatever the topic is, or B and whatever the topic is. And I always suggest, probably around one paragraph per 10% that's allocated to a subtask. It doesn't have to be that, but it tends to be kind of a general structure that you can apply in most cases. I always say to my students as well, and I get this question all the time, James, how do I increase the size of my answer? And I always think the best thing you can do is to question to yourself, why is this important? So for example, if you say, well, this particular strategy, we're not going to use it because it'll increase our gearing. Well, why is that important? Why does that matter? So think to yourself, well, okay, if we increase our gearing, maybe we, have a debt covenant that's related to a gearing threshold. Well, why is that important? Well, if we break this threshold, maybe we get a fine, or, something like that. So I think it's really important just to kind of question, why is this relevant? Why is this important? And generally speaking, you'll be able to come up with more ideas, more detail, and it'll enhance the quality of your answer.
Spot on, and highlighting on that key word of quality. If you
Yeah.
write generically in the SCS exam, there or the case study, it's just not gonna do it for the marker. You've got to be specific, relate it back to the scenario, and that is where you're going to be pushing on to get those marks to get on over the line for a pass. But Q, I've got to say, what are the final points that you've got to get on record for the viewers that could tilt them to getting that pass and to maybe being their last step to being qualified? What do we need to have on record?
Well, I'm going to say this, and maybe it's a little bit controversial, but I'm going to say, sometimes your answer for the SCS will be based on your own commercial experience, and you don't need to be, afraid to use your own experience and your own kind of commercial knowledge, or, knowledge from the pre-scene or the scenario. Sometimes the questions that come up, they might be difficult to actually trace back to the syllabus. And so you may be giving an answer that's, as I said, it's based on your own experience. That's okay to do. Okay, as long as it makes sense and it's relevant, it's within, the right context, that's totally fine to do. I've had a lot of people say to me, can I do that? I can't really trace it back to the syllabus. It's not dividend policy. It's not share price, whatever. But yes, you can. And sometimes if you look at the official CIMA solutions, again, it's hard to trace some of the answers back specifically to the syllabus. So yes, you can do that, and I would recommend doing it.
Absolutely spot on. And if you or I are marking a paper and it links back to the requirement and it ticks the
Yeah,
boxes from the mark scheme, we've got to give it on there. That's the key
of
thing.
course. Of
Yeah,
course.
exactly. Well, thank you very much, guys, for watching today. I've put all of Hugh's details down in the description. Feel free to reach out to him. LinkedIn's always a good one, isn't it, Hugh?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Super stuff, guys. Well, if you have any follow-up questions, leave us a comment below, and we'll see you in another video soon. Best of luck with your exam.